You drill a hole in the back side of that housing there, about an 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch drill bit. Drilled it down in there, and then take a punch and drill it at that angle where you can hit the back side of that pin. You can punch it right out. And one of the most important parts of these, this is definitely a really good top to a mixer. It's really good. So the indication of that is that seat down in there. If you can see that seat, it's proud of the casting. Some of them are even casted. The casting is thicker than the seat is. But that's I draw that to your attention with some time spent on it. Is that seat in your mixer on a NIM Type M McCormick Deering is really important as any part on that engine. That compensating valve adds to the whole, it regulates the way that how this mixer works. And a good seating compensating valve with the spring that's not too heavy, so that it'll actually compensate with not too many holes in it as to just sit there and draw air. All parts combined, this is very good. Very little wear. Some of them will be worn quite badly, but that should be a flat seat. So I'm going to replace that head with this head, because this is a much better head. Now, so this is what we're dealing with. It's very good. It has the original exhaust valve in it that comes in these M's originally, and that's that extra weight on that exhaust valve is on there for a reason. I'm just saying, you actually need that. But I'm going to replace these valves. I'm going to take them out and assess them, and you'll notice right there on that head right there, that's a spark plug body that somebody has broken the spark plug off of, and then they threaded that and put a smaller spark plug in it. So I'm going to take that out and put original spark plug back in there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld that socket around there into that spark plug body on it, and then I can take a ratchet pry bar and put on there and remove the stuck spark plug. But first, This head came by way of a parts engine, you know, but it's got that on there, and oh yeah, oh yeah. See, that's the intake valve right there. That has the double nut on it. You can adjust it. Oh yeah, that's original. Now, okay, you know, just to show you what we're dealing with, this right here was on that exhaust valve right there. There's a pin that was in it. Go across that way. That was in there, and it's in good condition. We'll use that as an upgrade from the one that was on this engine that is broken. We'll keep this in stock to use later. And this will be replaced by these original parts here. So, but the spring's still good, intake, and the that's pretty good. Okay, here's the one that was on this engine, and here's the one that was on the original engine, and you can see there's a little bit of difference in them. Here's an extra one. It's pretty close. This is a new one here, but this is, and we'll clean it up, but we'll reuse those springs. This being the intake that was on that engine that we're replacing, it's stretched and will not be replaced. I'll use this one right here. Actually, I'll put a new one on here. That's quite rusty. So, well, you know, I have two options right there. So, both these springs being new, ordered on the internet. No, it ain't. This is not a new one. This is just a real good used one. This is one ordered on the internet, as is this one. But I made this valve here. This is a new spring. And you can see the varying heights in all three of them. Actually, one right there is pretty good. I'll replace on this engine right here. I'll put that on here. So we got a new spring for it. So, and yes, I'll show you something. Just a little valve history. This being the original exhaust valve, take note of the heavy weight. To be replaced by to be replaced by this valve right here. A long time ago, there was a company. I'm not sure. The company went out of business, I think. But this is a hit and miss valve right here. Hit and Miss Enterprise made that valve. So I copied them, and this is the valve I made as an exact copy of them. Only this is an intake. It's threaded on the end down there. It works. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna put it on this engine probably. Probably one of these. I ordered these on the internet the other day. They're kind of pricey. That's all I'm gonna say about that. We'll put some new guides and use them. So we got enough parts. And I put this one together just earlier, up to the point where this being a modified engine, the whole setup, I need to confirm that I have like that valve shorter than normal. So the distance between the keeper and the head, I have to verify that I have enough clearance. Well, now this is I've never had these valves out of this head. The only reason that this head right here is a good candidate is it has this. That's that governor thing right there, and it works real good as is. It blocks off really good, so makes the head worth time to fix. But with that said, let's look at the valves. And this is the exhaust right here. See, can I knock it loose? Okay. And I'll leave you with a question. You know, you see this valve right here. I'm gonna wipe it down a little bit. So you can see that. Well, maybe you can't, but it's quite rusty. It's not too bad on the stem actually, but it's way undersized. If you cleaned it up, it would be on. And the head on it up there is, you know, it's what you got. So a little bench work, you know what I mean? We'll scrape that off for later. But to examine the seat and make a in this case, I'm going to make an educated guess in this case that that's the way this head came from the factory. And noting that this long governor rod part on this head here is not worn very much at all. These years you'll find that you have some that's worn plumb out, enough to require a bushing. So, just saying. The valve seat is very skinny. When these were new, they didn't have a very wide valve seat. So I'll get that cleaned up. And out of curiosity, this is, let's see. Oh yeah, I made that valve. See, it's pretty decent. I actually could put that valve in there and it would work. Just cutting the seat. Well, you have to cut it, yeah. Yes, it would work. So with that said on the clearance and all, this is a valve I ordered the other day on the internet. Let's just see how it fits. Well, actually, it's a little looser. Indicating, and then I done had the micrometer on it. This one is 0.5 thousandths or something smaller than this one, and it was loose in this hole compared to the other one. So About the same, a half thousand, you know. And what the other one? All of them about the same. So that's what we're working with. Now let's look at that intake valve right there. Well, it's quite rusty also. See, actually it wasn't rusty at one time, but it got some water in it, and you can see the drying pattern where it rusted onto that stem right there. That's the worst kind of rust. And actually the seat on this valve, for whatever reasons, is way down there at the bottom down there. So that means that it's a lot of buildup on it to account for that. But that seat is equally as skinny, factory original, as the other is. So now, so we'll put some new valves in there and get that spark plug out now. Well, now the yeah, weld that in there. And also, one of the things that's really important on these engines about getting them to run good is getting them to run slow. Is if you're sucking air around that shaft right there, around that shaft in there, then it's hard to regulate your governor. Can't get it to run slow enough.